your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
All right, Jamie, I think this will make you happy, okay? It's not going to solve all the problems, but maybe it will kind of help reduce the problem. The NCAA's Division I Council is going to and has voted to shorten the portal windows for FBS and FCS football as well as men's and women's basketball. So now you can enter the portal, but your window is gone from 45 days to 30 days. The window for football will start December 28th, okay, and go for 30 days. And then there will be just a 10-day window in the spring from April the 16th through the 25th. As far as men's and women's basketball concerned, it's going to go from 45 days to 30 days, and that window will open on this at the end of the second round of the NCAA tournament. So I guess after the Sweet 16, okay? Previously, it opened the day after Selection Sunday.
Okay.
So that might, at least as far as, I would prefer it be at the end of the tournament, but, I guess they have to get started. It just, it affects a smaller number of teams when it opens the end of the second round as opposed to the end of the, when the tournament's announced, basically. So that affected everybody. This reduces it down to, just 16 on each side. They were trying to get rid of the spring window altogether for football, but that was negated. That did not pass. Okay. You still get to go into the transfer portal for all sports when the coach is fired, or in the event of a head coaching change that opens the day after the departure of that head coach. So I guess just if the coach leaves or if the coach is fired. And then once they enter the portal, players will still be able to transfer to a school at any time. Grad transfers are currently allowed to enter the transfer portal between October 1 and the end of their sport-specific transfer window. So it doesn't eliminate the grad transfer problem, which is, we've seen a lot of that. And we've seen some of that come here, and we've seen some of that leave to go somewhere else from here, too. I mean, it's kind of worked. I
feel like grad transfer part of it is the least of the problem.
Yeah, because it's only going to be, most cases, it's only going to be a year. The other thing that I found interesting in this article from CBS Sports is they say, and I'm going to just take it for what it's worth here, that only 11 of the top 100 players in the 24/7 sports transfer portal rankings changed teams during the spring, but more than 3,800 FBS football players entered the portal after the 2023 season, with nearly a third of those coming in the post-spring window. So obviously they went through spring practice, maybe didn't see that they were going to get the playing time or didn't win their position battle, and have decided to go somewhere else. Would be the presumption there, right?
Okay.
But it affects depth.
There's also coaches that could say, listen, we're going to find someplace else for you to play.
There's that too. Yep.
It's not all evil. It's mostly evil. It's not all evil.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
There are instances, absolutely, where it makes sense and you totally understand and you feel like it makes sense for all parties and you're happy that the portal is there for those particular athletes in that situation.
So in the fall it goes from 30 to 20, and for the spring it goes from 15 to 10. Because I feel like that's more than enough time, right, for both parties. Because you're going to know, right? You're going to know going into that portal period. You're going to know if you're going to leave or not.
Sure.
For the most part.
Sure. I would guess so.
And so you don't need the whole 45 days or the 30 days, whatever the number is.
I just think it helps coaches to know what to be able to settle their roster and know what they're searching for and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, and it probably helps the players as well to know that they're okay. Hey, I'm moving on. I'm gonna go somewhere else and be a part of somebody else's team. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Tech coaches study their opponents, right? And the Red Raider team practices and work as a team. I think we can go to a big bowl. Not thinking of who we're playing next. As long as we play hard all 4 quarters, we should be going to a big bowl. What is a big bowl anymore? I mean, the big bowl is going to a college football playoff, right?
Right. Yeah, I still would feel like, there are possibilities for the Red Raiders. I think the Alamo I would still list as a big one.
I agree.
Think you hear about the matchups and the potential games that you could possibly have or matchups with in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That feels like a big one to me. The other bowls that we've talked about, anything that's in Fort Worth or Dallas does not feel big.
Nope.
Okay.
Unless it's the Cotton Bowl. And
the Texas Bowl does not feel big just because you've played there so many times. Yeah. And so that one doesn't feel big to me. Liberty doesn't just because you've been there recently. But at the same time, when you tell me who the matchup is, sometimes that changes my opinion of it.
Yeah.
If it's a good matchup with a big name that I think will be fun, then it can change my opinion of the bowl itself.
Yeah. No, I think...
but if you're traveling to Fort Worth or to Dallas to play in a bowl game, that's not big.
No, it feels like a bowl. Day trip.
I mean, I don't know that I'm putting words in Jamie's mouth, and I'm not trying to disparage the city of Plainview, but if it was the NobodyCares.com Bowl in Plainview versus Notre Dame, Jamie would be in.
Yeah, if we could get Notre Dame to Plainview, that'd be awesome.
There's just something about the Pop-Tart Bowl that just kind of... I'm not wild about the name.
What's wrong with Pop-Tarts?
I love Pop-Tarts, but it just...
Sure sounds like you got a problem with Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Is it the strawberry filling that burns your roof? Roof of your mouth ones? Is that why you don't like it?
No.
You play them cool, they get easier to eat.
I like the Alamo Bowl. I mean, I think that... I've been to that bowl a couple of times, and I'd love to go to that one again. It's December the 28th. Right now, the projected matchup is, according to Bleacher Sports, K-State and USC. So I think you're trending for a better bowl than what you've had in recent years, which is great. I mean, and it's not like they've been bad bowls because there's no such thing as bad bowl for the most part, except Fort Worth or Dallas, with the exception of the Cotton Bowl. I agree with Jamie on that one.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
October the 9th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Gonna start in 1919. Baseball World Series. Cincinnati Reds beat the Chicago White Sox 10-5 at Comiskey Park for a 5-3 series victory. Due to the Black Sox scandal that would come about after this World Series, it is the last World Series to take place without a commissioner of baseball in place.
Oh.
1944 World Series, the only all St. Louis World Series. Cardinals beat the Browns 3-1 at Sportsman's Park for a 4-2 series victory. We're down to Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles, right? Those are the only 3 that can be a all-city World Series?
Yeah.
And we've got an all-Texas World Series. We've got... we can't anymore because the Astros are in the American League. Who else could we have? I think that's it, right? AL, NL teams in same state?
Well, you could have St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yep.
American League, National League. If you wanted to.
1965, Ryder Cup. USA beats Great Britain 19.5 to 12.5. Byron Nelson is your non-playing American captain, and Henry Wheatman is the Great Britain skipper.
I've never heard of Mr. Wheatman.
Wheatman.
Sounds like Woodman.
1983, NFL Buffalo Bills quarterback Joe Ferguson passes for 419 yards and 5 touchdowns, winning a 38-35 battle in overtime over the Dolphins in Miami.
It's a lot of passing yards for a game back in those days.
I mean, it's
didn't see him slinging around that
not
much.
too shabby for passing yards today.
Yeah. And Joe Ferguson was a smaller guy too. I mean, he was kind of a diminutive. I mean, he wasn't the tallest passer.
My first NFL jersey was Joe Ferguson.
Yeah. I always kind of liked him.
First grade school pictures. I still laugh at my parents about this. First grade school pictures are rocking my Joe Ferguson jersey. Like you really sent your kid to school on picture day. Kind of tells you a little bit about my upbringing, wearing a football jersey.
I have I think it was 6th grade. I'm wearing a button down, but it was a Chiefs button down with, a player's caricature and number on it.
I think like every other year, it's like a sweater of some sort. But for whatever, my guess is that my parents forgot. Like it was picture day.
No,
I'll also say I don't know exactly how many times my parents knew what I wore to school on picture day growing up. Yeah, we were kind of on our own to pick our clothes.
Yeah, my mom did. My mom did.
That's fair for my brother and I. I think they were more worried about the other 3.
1997, Chuck cried. Probably cried a lot. Not gonna lie, Jamie may have cried too. North Carolina record-winning college basketball coach Dean Smith retires.
I didn't cry at all.
2010, in Dallas, Taylor Potts completes 42 of his 59 passes for 462 yards and 4 touchdowns as Texas Tech beats Baylor 45-38. Happy National Beer and Pizza Day.
I had this.
It's together.
Together, yes. Your beer and pizza day.
I had this hankering to bring a cold piece of pizza to work today. Now I know why. But I didn't. But now I know why.
Happy birthday going out to somebody Jamie can tell us more about. Tennis player Ben Shelton is 22 today.
Yeah. Young player with a killer left-handed serve.
Bright future?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sharon Osbourne, 72. Steve Burns from Blue's Clues is 51. Mike Singletary is 66. Derek Holland, 38. And Jimbo Fisher is 59.
Living the good life, probably.
Do you think he'll coach again?
Yes.
I do too.
Yep.
And on this day, 1992, 18-year-old Michelle Knapp is watching television in her parents' living room in Penskill, New York, when she hears a thunderous crash in the driveway. Alarmed, she ran outside to investigate.
Alarmed. Woo!
What she found was startling, to say the least. A sizable hole in the rear end of her car, an orange 1980 Chevy Malibu. A matching hole in the gravel driveway underneath the car, and a hole in the culprit? What looked to be an ordinary bowling ball-sized rock. It was extremely heavy for its size, weighed about 28 pounds, shaped like a football and warm to the touch. It also smelled vaguely of rotten eggs. The next day, a curator from the American Museum of Natural History in New York City confirmed the object was in fact a genuine meteorite.
Oh, how about that?
And that is a destroyed car from space on this day in sports history.
All right, that little signal means that it's time for you to get a lucky local winning word and go to doublet973.com and enter it or get yourself registered to win weekly cash every Wednesday, which is today, Thursday, tomorrow, and Friday, day after tomorrow. So you can win some cashline from the home zone and Double T 97.3. The more times you enter, the more chances you have to win. It makes sense, right? This is not a national contest. It is a local contest. So the money will be given away to folks that stumble around right here in good old Lubbock, Texas, USA. We'll give away one final cash giveaway of $2,500 at 2 Docks on Thursday, December the 5th. So put that on your calendar. And at 6:52 this morning. Your lucky local winning word for this morning is Huskies. Huskies, Huskies, as in Washington. Huskies, okay? Huskies. Huskies, your local winning word this morning at 6:52 from the Home Zone, making your house a home, in Double T 97.3.
I hope Michelle Knapp had farmer's insurance full coverage on her car, because that would make the commercials so much better. Mm-hmm. Well, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. How do you fill that one out? Mm-hmm. Destroyed by meteorite. Where's that box on the form? Because it had to get repaired.
Sure, it's probably totaled since it was a 1980 car.
How do you fill that out? What hit your car? A rock.
A meteorite. I wonder if she probably didn't get to keep it.
I don't know. It landed on her property.
Right. But
she was the one who found it.
Would it be worth anything?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, that's
big time.
That's the question I would have is what's...
She probably could have sold it and bought 10 new cars. Like a meteorite that size.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like it should be her property.
Feels like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's got to pay for a car and a driveway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although the insurance company would say, if you're going to take the insurance money, then that meteorite...
Well, no, the car is insured, not the driveway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, unless it's homeowners, right? All right, we'll leave that to somebody else to figure out, right?
Well, it's been figured out. This was, 1992.
Right. Although there's probably some kind of legal dispute over it by now, Jamie.
Most likely. Most likely.
And you know what? When I saw the transfer window stuff, the first thing I thought about was some athlete out there is going to sue the NCAA because they're going to say that the transfer window has been shortened, and so basically their window of opportunity is less, and their rights have been somehow interfered with, and so they're going to sue.
And some judge will agree with them.
And the NCAA will be a weak stick and cave.
Because that's kind of how our country has become.
And they're
just following suit.
Right. That's a sad state of affairs. Somebody needs to man up every once in a while. Say, nope, this is not how it's going to be, buddy boy. 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. The world would be so much, I don't know if it'd be better or simpler or worse off if they just listened to us, Jamie.
That's a great question.
Dodge lightning. I think we lose a little bit of credibility there, Chuck.
Probably a little bit of column A, B, and C, right?
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, and Chuck Heinz will have day baseball for you today as the Cleveland Guardians will play at the Detroit Tigers. It's a afternoon day baseball. What more can you say? Playoff baseball. I love it. And first pitch, it'll be about 2:08 this afternoon. We'll have it for you on 100.7 The Score. And then tonight, we'll have the Dodgers and the Padres at 6:30, and balls and strikes at about 7:08. And it will be sunny San Diego because the sun will still be out, and we'll get that, commentary about, the home plate will be in the shade and the pitcher will be in the sun, and the release point in the batters will have a hard time picking it up, and that'll affect the early innings of the ballgame. I love all that discussion, especially in day baseball during the playoffs. I mean, it's become so predictable. It's like we'll probably get to about the second or third inning, and whoever the commentator is will be, and Jamie, you see right now the shadow is encompassing home plate, and it goes about halfway to the pitcher's mound, and this makes it really, really difficult on the hitters, and it gives the pitchers an advantage right now, and you might see, Joe Smirchek go an extra half inning or inning because he's got a real live fastball, and it's hard to pick that up when you're hitting in the shade and the ball's coming out of the sun. So look for that commentary today.
You are without a doubt. I don't know that many people. Okay, mm-hmm. You are without a doubt the oddest sports fan that I have ever known in my life.
Really?
I mean, most people are watching games. They jump up out of their chair. They yell and scream when their team hits a home run or somebody makes a diving stop, or
I do all that.
Somebody robs somebody of a dinger or whatever out at the plate.
Gotcha.
Chuck says he loves it when they discuss. They discuss that the sun and the shadows are bothering the hitters or the pitcher. You love that.
I just look for that because I know that's gonna happen.
I don't.
Jeff, Jamie,
Jeff, do you have any answers?
I'm a common sense sports fan, Jamie.
I did. I had a great explanation. And then that was said. Now I got nothing.
Okay. All right. Now we've established that.
Man, I mean, I feel like I feel like there's a lot of times when I'm making commentary, and the lucky lady can back me up on this. I'm making commentary during the games, and it comes out of my mouth into the TV, and it comes back out. It comes back out in from TV land, from Jim Nantz or name the guy.
I think that my wife would probably prefer that I talked more, specifically to her more.
Well, my wife wants that. I mean, she wants that right now.
But I don't think
she wants you to talk more.
She does to her.
Yeah.
To her.
To her.
Okay. We were missing a phrase there.
To her. With her. Have actual conversation.
I think if I was constantly doing what you're describing there, I think it would annoy my wife.
Mm-hmm.
She would really just start to ignore me.
Really?
Well, because she would think I was talking to her about something, and so she would turn her focus towards me.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then I'm like, I'm just talking to the TV. Fully well knowing that I'm not talking to her, which would be annoying. I think she'd be like, okay, well, every once in a while you could talk to me. But the fact that I just don't talk, she's okay with that.
Yeah, because she doesn't really talk a whole lot either, right? I mean, you're the Lents.
We do what we do.
We do what we do. I don't know about this. Smartest sports fan in every room, Chuck.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Chuck is a cliche sports fan. Bobby Hot Dogs says this. That is Chuck's 8th sense. Bullfighter, is that your 8th sense? He tried to have a trick question because he wanted to know where the Indy Bowl is. It's in Shreveport, which is the Independence Bowl. Bullfighter. I mean, you're not gonna get me every day. Okay. So, yeah, there you go. Now I've completely forgot where we were going. Oh, I wanted to, because I was thinking about this as well, and I don't know if this story has been posted yet or not, but I think it's getting ready to be on doublet973.com. We were all asked to grade certain position groups. That article is still to come, right? On doublet973.com.
Correct.
Okay, it's coming. It's coming. I won't spoil it for you. But among the position groups that I was asked to grade, which I thought these were pretty good for me: quarterbacks, offensive line, and special teams. And when I was thinking about the quarterbacks, the name jumped out to me. I was like, yeah, he's kind of been missing. Somebody says this off the chat line: have I missed something, or is Cam Brown, our number 2 quarterback, just dropped off the radar? Well, I mean, in a way, you want him off the radar, right? Because if he's on the radar, that means Baron Morton's in the training room.
Yeah, and there was also some thought of that he was a really good running, powerful quarterback, and that you would use him in that way in some trick play scenarios or some wildcat scenarios. And what have you done in wildcat scenarios? You've used Jalen Conyers.
Yeah. And
not Cam Brown. Yeah, and I think Jalen Conyers is more powerful than Cam Brown, so it makes sense to me that you've done that.
Yeah.
Again, as I've stated, I think your best short yardage running situation is Jalen Conyers running the ball with Taj Brooks being the lead blocker, because he's such a good lead blocker.
And maybe that's something they discovered as, time's gone on, and when you get into a game in a live situation, they go, hey, this guy's better than this guy. But Cam Brown has rushed the ball 8 times for 83 yards. His longest gain has been 22. He's averaging 10.4 yards per carry. And then when you look at Jalen Conyers, he's rushed the ball 5 times for a net of 28 yards, and he scored a touchdown. Brown is 4 of 9 with 1 interception. So he has a third of your interceptions because Baron Morton has 2. But he's only 4 of 9 for 11 yards. But you don't want him in there because if he's in there, then the other guy's down.
Yeah, no offense to Cam Brown, but there's a reason why he's flying under the radar is because you haven't needed him.
Thank God, right?
Yeah, and there's a reason, part of the reason that lots of reasons you're having success right now, but one of the reasons is you've been able to keep him healthy. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you haven't been able to say in recent years.
Sure. With regard to our kickers, by the way, in the comment earlier about somebody's going to get a really good kicker. Okay, so Gino Garcia is the super senior, so he's done. And Reese Burkhardt is a senior. Okay, so I believe he is done after this year. So you're going to need a kicker. Better be recruiting one. And Gino Garcia is the last.
We should have had Reese stop kicking after 4 games.
I actually thought about that, but then he's been kicking off, and he's been doing a really good job of that.
Yeah.
And maybe he's like, hey, I want to go on to my petroleum engineer job or whatever it is that he's going to do. Or maybe, see if I can take my talents to the next level. But Gino Garcia he's the last of the COVID guys because he got an extra year because of COVID. Sooner or later that we're going to say, okay, we're done. All these extra years and stuff is over. I think this is it, Jamie.
That's disappointing.
You wanted more?
Yeah.
Well, somebody could probably figure out a way to get an extra year. I mean, look at
sarcasm.
I know. Look at Alan Bowman. I mean, he's in year 7.
Tyler Shuck.
I was so happy for Louisville losing the other night. I was just like, Shuck throws in there something. I'm like, we've seen that movie. We have seen that movie. You ain't going to win, Louisville. You ain't going to win.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, so I'm not sure how this one will go, but I'm going to ask it. Not sure if it's a great question or not. Yeah. I am going to ask you a question, and I'm going to take one answer off the board. Okay? I wish that the Red Raiders had beaten Washington State.
Okay.
You can change one thing that has happened so far this year with the Red Raider football team. What would you want to change?
That is an interesting question because the low-hanging fruit answer for me was I would love to change your performance in week 1. I realize you won the game, but boy, it sure didn't feel like it. You were lucky to win the game. But then I wonder, did what you did in that game, or more like what you didn't do in that game, has that helped you with the 4 other wins that you have? In other words, did you grow as a result of that?
Did
you
it
grow?
Motivate you?
Yeah.
Did it push you? Did you learn from your mistakes?
Yeah. Did you all of those things? Okay, all of those things. Because, and then what would I do differently? What would I do differently? You know what? Can I stand pat?
Sure you can.
But that's boring. That's I guess. And you said you're going to take Washington State off of the what you did there. Yeah.
You can't just say, I wish we beat Washington State. I'll give you my answer, and maybe it'll help you guys.
Okay.
And it's something the chat line is hitting on, too. I wish Taj didn't get hurt playing against ACU. I would love to know what that game against Washington State would look like with Taj Brooks.
Yeah.
I would love to know. I don't think I'm in the boat of predicting that you would win, but I definitely am in the boat of predicting that it would have been closer and you'd have had a shot at least. You still that wouldn't have fixed you not being able to stop their running quarterback. But I just,
Well, okay. So let me just put, since you're talking about injuries, I'll just say you lost two guys really early on that are your edge rushers. What if you had those guys? What if you hadn't lost those guys?
Yeah. So for the long haul, I think that. I don't know if it would have changed anything, right? I don't know if that would have changed Washington State. I don't know. We might still be 5-1 if we had all those guys healthy. But I think you make a good point in that moving forward, if you think you're going to beat some better teams here, if you're going to win on the road at Iowa State, if you're going to beat a West Virginia team at home, or if you're going to slow down Colorado's great passing attack, get to Shedeur Sanders, you're going to need those guys.
Sure.
So that, to me, would be a good answer. Yeah.
I don't know if this is in the vein of what you're talking about. I wish I could change how Baron Morton misses his passes. And what I mean by that, especially in the Arizona game, he misses high. High is dangerous. High is getting picked off by a defensive back behind him. If he was missing low on those throws, it hits the ground. If he's missing wide, you're throwing in theory to an open area. But missing high scares me.
You think it's more high than anything else?
I think it's more high. And maybe it was just the Arizona game that is playing tricks on me a little bit. I just feel like when he gets juiced, it gets a little more air underneath it, and he's missing receivers high. When it's in a pressure situation, he's missing high. And that miss low. Have it bounce. Well, and if it bounces, nobody catches it.
Here's the other case you can make with regard to Baron Morton. You could say about your receivers, I wish in every game that you could take one of the drops that they've had and make it a reception, because you might have a little more separation in these one-score games than really what you had. And you might look at Barron and go, okay, he's having a really, really good season. I mean, I think he's having a good season. He's having a really pretty good season, actually. But, I mean, it's really weird, because how many times in this offense have you pointed at the quarterback and go, in order for us to win, you have to have a big game? We're not necessarily saying that about him. You just can't have a bad game. But we're not saying, man, it's all on Baron Morton's shoulders, because of the depth that you have at receiver group, because of what you've got, in Taj Brooks. Baron Morton doesn't have to have, a Patrick Mahomes type Texas Tech game in order for you to win.
It's good because Patrick lost more than we wanted him to.
Right, because we didn't have a defense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he had to be Superman every night. Well, and you could make the same case with, a lot of other guys that came before him. Graham Harrell, you could make that case. You could make that case with Coach Kingsbury when he was quarterback, blah, blah, blah. So, that's a good question. So a number of people have said here, change the amount of injuries. Taj Brooks playing at Washington State. Easy Brooks getting hurt and missing the Washington State game. Somebody says need a buzzer or alarm for Chuck's responses. Okay.
I liked the on the chat line said that you would want a third kicker to rotate in.
Injuries to the defensive line.
I think moving forward, that's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
If you had more of those guys healthy, then you could be a little bit more confident that your defense. But, man, I feel like Coach DeRuiter has done a great job the last couple of weeks. I feel like we're doing a good job getting pressure. And so, whether that's him coaching them up or whether it's him, throwing a couple of wrinkles in there that are surprising some offenses or what. But I feel like we're getting pressure on that quarterback a lot better than we were early on in the season. So kudos to the coaching staff. Kudos to the players as well, because obviously they're the ones that are out there executing.
Well, let me ask you this. Are we starting to see the defensive depth that they talked about in the spring and in the fall camp because of how they're starting to kind of come together and gel?
I don't know that I would say that, just because I still feel like you're one injury to the secondary away from being really bad in the secondary.
Okay.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T97.3.com. It is Wednesday, Jamie, the day the work gets done.
It's good.
So keep that in mind. If you've already had a busy week or feel like you've already accomplished a lot, like just, I said this a couple of weeks ago, the Monday and Tuesday were so good, and kind of got to Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of that week, and it didn't kind of finish like I wanted it to. So I got to play all 5 games this week, all 5 days, because yesterday was an outstanding day. And it would be hard to duplicate today, but you can have a good second quarter, and you've got to still score potentially in the third and the fourth. You don't want to go to overtime. Friday might become kind of a push day into the weekend for me, going into a bye week. Kind of give myself a little extra time going into the bye week to kind of revitalize for next week. Okay. But anyway, today's the day the work gets done. All right, some things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I'm just going to read them from the top here. It's crazy to say, but Aaron Rodgers feels like a guy whose career is a bit of a disappointment. With his high quarterback IQ and elite talent, he would have been in the GOAT talk. His all-about-me attitude cost him. He's a 4-time MVP, but he's a 1-time Super Bowl champion. And his teams have fallen short a number of times when it comes to he's gotten back to the Super Bowl, but winning additional championships. He's going to be thought of as a great individual player because of the 4 MVPs, but I think there's something to be said about this, Jamie. His teams have lacked at the end.
Yeah, I don't know that's always been on him. Maybe it has a little bit. I just feel like he's just been so full of drama that anybody that's even slightly interested in paying attention to the NFL has just gotten tired head from him.
Most companies escort you out as they do not want the company taking any company assets information with him, just life. He likely wasn't happy and could go work for a rival team. They don't want him taking team info. Sure, I understand. There's that. Somebody else says this. There's more to the story. Somebody said something to the wrong thing. Okay.
Yeah, maybe so. That's fair.
Clay says this. As a Packer fan, I am so glad that Aaron Rodgers is with the Jets. Yeah. Okay. This Raiders dad gives a guns up from Umag, Croatia.
Croatia?
Yeah. JL, I will be on the lookout for Tony Kukoc.
Man, I could have let you borrow a jersey to wear around there, and people would have thought you were a native.
And Raiders dad has been dialed in all week long on the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Raiders dad, what kind of Double T swag could you provide Raiders dad as a small incentive? I think he would do it just if he got his picture taken with Tony Kukoc and Tony Kukoc did a guns up with him. What kind of swag could Raiders dad earn himself?
I don't mean a hat or a T-shirt, but I hate to break it to you, but last I knew he lived in Chicago.
Okay, but what if he's visiting? What if he's visiting the homeland? He could be visiting the homeland. He could have gone to his favorite Croatian restaurant.
He could have. Yes, that's all.
Hey, the new gal that we have on the Lady Raiders, can I call her the Croatian sensation?
You can call her whatever you want.
Okay, I mentioned that to her the other day when I met her, and I said, "You're the Croatian sensation." And so he said, "Oh, I like that." I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of stolen, but it might work."
The fact that she didn't know who the other Croatian sensation...
She didn't. I mean, we were just having a very quick
conversation. She's a basketball player and doesn't know who the Croatian sensation is from Croatia. I'm starting to worry about her.
She probably does. I'll ask her if she's a Tony Kukoc fan.
In all honesty, there's a women's tennis player that's playing for LCU on my daughter's team that is Croatian as well, and I have tabbed her the Croatian sensation as well.
Yeah,
so
we can have multiple Croatian sensations.
And she also had never heard of Tony Kukoc, despite the fact that her uncle played on the Olympic team with him.
Wow. The U.S. Olympic team or the Croatian Olympic team?
Tony's not played for the U.S. Olympic team.
He just played for the Croatians.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was on the team that Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen specifically said he won't score, and they were like elite level defense against Kukoc before he was with the Bulls. We've heard that story.
He scored 9. And then in the next game, he had a triple-double against them.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that.
No, but we were talking about the one that was the first one. They were, no, we're punishing him here.
We get this from Edward, who's kind of campaigning on all of our behalf. He said this, would have asked the president of Double T 97.3 to renew the Double T 97.3 commentators' contracts, including higher salaries. Although, I hate that you guys talk Major League Baseball more than Texas Tech football. What? I don't think that's not an accurate statement. I still think you'll rock. You are the best. And then he gives a shout-out to his team. The shout-out to the team at Allsco Uniforms, Lubbock. Have a Raider Halloween day. Okay. I can agree with a lot of what he had to say about that. I've never heard it called Raider Halloween. Okay. I do not think we talk more Major League Baseball than Texas Tech football by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, maybe 1/100th.
Yeah. Let's see here. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Baron Morton doesn't throw many 50-50 balls that our receivers can go up and get. Not very accurate on the deep balls.
I wouldn't necessarily say the deep ball is his strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's not been perfect. But I think he's playing his best football as far as what we've seen from other years. He's healthy. He's making solid decisions. He's not putting you in bad spots. He's not losing you games with turning the ball over a bunch.
Isn't it a good thing that he doesn't have to be perfect? I mean, because that speaks about your team too.
That's a good thing for the team. It doesn't mean you don't want him to be perfect.
Right. No, I mean, right. No, I know that. But I mean, it's not like he's the pressure. It's not like if it's to be, it's up to me kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't have to feel that way.
No, not at all. This from $8 an hour guy, whom we have not heard from in quite some time. I'll bet that Arizona quarterback was sore Sunday. I bet he was.
Yeah, we got after him.
Wish we had more experience in the secondary. Every time number 12 comes in, I cringe. Well, I mean, I understand. I think I know.
Experience is the one thing you can't speed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do agree. I agree that I wish we had more experience. Feels like we got a lot of young guys that are in there, and that's why I said earlier.
Yeah.
One injury to Lux or Baskerville or whatever, and Mohorn, and I'm nervous.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, if you could wave a magic wand over Braylon Lux's thigh and say, "Heal it up, young man," then that would be great. And let's see, number 12. I think I know who this is. Macho Stevenson. And he is a redshirt freshman, and they would tell you that he is improving with each game as he's gaining experience. So because of the injuries, he was a guy that originally they weren't thinking was going to play as many snaps as he's been having to play, especially when Lux was out.
Yeah.
But they would tell you that he is getting better. But I do understand what you're saying. I think it's good we lost to Washington State, gets you prepared for the other quarterbacks that can run. Okay. A loss is never a good thing. You'd like to learn from your wins too. 8:10 this morning on the Morning Drive.
This has been the Morning Drive podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.